Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Musharrafah Ansari, and I secured an All India rank of 4386 in NEET PG 2024. While it is not a bad rank, it is neither the best, but the knowledge that I gained while preparing will definitely help you inch towards your best. The most important is how you are going to schedule yourself. If you are in your last year, then you should have a daily and weekly target for the month that is going on and a broad monthly target for every month leading up to the exam. If you have more than a year left, then you should at least have an annual plan or outline of how your passing years is going to look like leading up to the final exam. Suppose if you are in your last second year or last third year, then you should at least have tri-monthly targets or biannual targets for that whole of the year. Take Sunday as a buffer. Only put in 6 days of work. If you are able to complete that work plan of 6 days, then you can enjoy your Sunday, celebrate it. If something is pending, you can use that day to cover up. So you don't have too much of backlog proceeding further. How to practice questions and what to practice. If you are in your last year, then I would suggest reset the modules and focus mostly on your previous year questions and grand test. You can add TMD and subject-wise tests if possible. How to approach those questions. For one-liner questions, have a top-to-bottom approach, reading every word from start to finish. That is the question, accompanying image if there is, and all options. But if the question has more than one line, then read the last line of the question first, and then all the options that are there, and then again go top to bottom. Once you answer a question, it's a good habit to read the question again, just to minimize any chance of error. How you are going to revise will also be of importance. If any question is right, even by guess, just read the explanation and let it pass. But if you do a question wrong, then you need to categorize it in priority order so that you can revise it effectively. I used to have 3 sets. So, for example, I'm going to take it as red, yellow, and green, with red being of the highest priority, yellow intermediate, and green being the least. If what I did wrong was a previous year question, I would mark it as red. If more than 50% of the people got it right, not a previous year question, I would mark it yellow. And less than 50% of the people got it right and not a previous year question, I would mark it as green. When I am revising my bookmarks, I would start with the first question, that is the red ones, the previous year question. If I get it right, I would change it to yellow. If I again do it wrong, I'll let it remain as red ones. What would happen is that the more important the question is, the more number of times you will solve it correctly so that it would get unmarked. Red would become yellow, yellow would become green, and then green would become unmarked. So for a PYQ, it would get solved thrice correctly. For something that was not a PYQ, but more than 50% of the people got it right, it will have to be solved twice correctly to finally get it unmarked. So the more important the question is, the more number of times we're going to revise it, and it would be a very systematic approach to it. How to attempt mock test. You need to build yourself into the habit of giving tests and grand tests in a very exam-based manner. You should take your grand test every 15 days or as it shows up live on your platform. Try giving it on Sunday mornings or a fixed time so that you would eventually have that circadian clock into the role. Also give around 3 offline mocks. Use a day or two to analyze it. I used to analyze in 3 sections, skipped ones, wrong ones, and then the guessed correct ones. So it used to give me a feel that I have only 3 sections to deal with, but you can also proceed subject wise. Keep seeing your bottom subjects. Just knowing what subjects you performed weekly will subconsciously make you concentrate more on it. And despite the negative marking, answer maximum number of questions. You need to build the confidence to attempt more than 190 out of 200. Another important thing that you will probably also enjoy creating is your 28th notebook. Compile the things that are volatile to you, but is in the explanation of a previous year question. That is the last 5 years for NEET and last 3 years for INI and FMGE. It has to meet both the criteria. It should be volatile to you and it should be in the explanation of a previous year question. You can take a file and make pages for each subject. You can rewrite or edit the pages or even change the sequence as you like. You can also create a digital version of it and update both forms as and when needed. And you should start revising that 20th notebook at the end of each revision cycle. Also, you can put some of those content in Anki as flashcards because that would make a fun way to revise something volatile daily. The more closer we get to the exam, the more crucial the time becomes and how you are going to ace your last revision. In your last 7 to 10 days, you have to make a complete theory revision of all 19 subjects. Use the last 2 to 3 days out of those 7 to 10 days for your 20th notebook specifically. You won't be able to achieve this unless you are working within adequately placed timelines for successive revisions. You should remain aware on how much you accomplish in a day and how you are progressing with time because that will help you achieve your plans and plan in a way that you can achieve. In my case, I started with a year for complete revision, and 2 years down the line, I gradually moved to cycles of 7 days. 7 days cycle for revising theory and 7 days cycle for bookmark, including that Sunday buffer and GT if planned. Theory includes your summary book. If I was unable to complete something from one cycle, I would take note of what exactly took me longer so I can keep that in mind while planning successive cycles. And for an example, if I had a subject left to revise in the theory cycle, I could either take it up in the bookmark cycle or wait and do it when the next theory cycle is planned. Also, don't plan any revision on your last day before exam. If you are running behind your schedule, it will help you catch up and act as a buffer. Even if you completed as you scheduled, you will still pick up something to revise, let's say a previous year question. Yes, so whatever you will still do on that day will be registered as an extra. It will give you the feeling that you are doing more than you planned or aimed for. And it will thus boost your confidence. The most important thing is going to be how you are going to take care of yourself. Throughout the preparation, during the exam, until you walk out of the examination hall, what you will need most is your emotional intelligence. No matter how academically smart you are or how incredibly you have prepared, or just how great your life is, you need emotional strength and integrity to overcome the disappointments caused to you by people or by your own self. You have to be focused, you have to choose your priorities right, and only work on your own self. Have faith and hope in yourself and in time. You are doing this to be a better person and a better doctor, and this journey you are undertaking will help you become one. Be in a happy state in the last few months, especially in the last week, and most importantly, right before the exam. Don't enter inside the examination hall way too early. Have coffee right before entering if coffee is your thing, and also don't take too much of it. Believe all the time that you are going to do excellent. Don't begin evaluating your performance while you are in the middle of your exam itself. Whether you are doing good or bad is not what you should be thinking during the exam. I would suggest you not to think about it even after you have come out of the exam hall for a while, because that is the time to pat your back and celebrate a whole lot. All the best